Labor leader Jacinda Ardern used a peanut butter factory in Nelson today to announce her party's policy on the cost of living. It's where the party announced its fiscal plan and how it wants to ensure groceries and building supplies are affordable. But the National Party is already picking fiscal holes. Political reporter Charlie Dreaver and videographer Sam Rillstone were there and filed this report.
There wasn't much social distancing in central Nelson today. Jacinda Ardern mobbed for selfies and only too willing to comply. One woman rushing out of the hairdressers with her hair still in foils so she could grab a snap. But it wasn't all smiles, factory tours and selfies today, with Labor getting down to business and announcing market studies of both groceries and building supplies.
We did see, for instance, during COVID recently, when we opened up the opportunity for New Zealand to raise questions over potentially unfair pricing, we saw a lot of feedback at that time. That raised for us the question of whether we should look at our market as a whole.
Finance spokesperson Grant Robertson also unveiled Labor's fiscal plan for the next term. It is mostly unchanged from Treasury pre-election economic and fiscal update, with the main difference being the inclusion of a new income tax rate for the top 2% of earners, something already announced by the party. $12.1 billion will remain in the COVID fund in case of another global resurgence or an alert level change. But National's finance spokesperson Paul Goldsmith says the plan lacks substance.
Well, this is not a fiscal plan that's been released by Labor today. It's a pamphlet. It has no real detail at all on major spending promises that they've made. For example, they've talked about light rail down Dominion Road, a very expensive pumped hydro scheme. There's no indication in their pamphlet as to how that will be funded.
Paul Goldsmith also pointed to a $140 billion typo in the pamphlet after Mr Robertson spent days poking holes in National's plans.
You would have thought Grant Robertson has spent the last 10 days jumping up and down about figures, and he still managed to get his own wrong.
But Grant Robertson laughed it off.
We have a typographical error in the axis of a graph. Our numbers add up.
And then he hit back at the National Party.
I believe we put forward a balanced plan. It's one that enables us to keep providing health and education services at the same time as keeping control on debt. What National have put up is a plan that's both irresponsible and unaffordable.
But today's unfortunate typo showing both parties are susceptible to errors in rushing their policies out the door to the waiting public, a public that, at least in Nelson, didn't seem to be too concerned. From Nelson, for Charlie Dreaver, DNA.